see it, okay. Strategic, we'll see first, strategic debt restructuring, and S4A. What is S4A? Scheme for sustainable structuring of stressed assets. You know what is this S4? 4 S are there. Scheme, sustainable, structuring, stressed. That is S4. And A is assets. S4A means 4 S are there. Scheme for sustainable structuring of stressed assets. Okay, try to understand. SDR was introduced by RBI in 2015. When it realized that SDR was not functioning, it's not functioning properly, it introduced S4A in 2016. Now, the term itself will help you to understand the basic difference between these two schemes. One, it is saying that, okay, strategic debt restructuring. See, whenever you hear the word strategic, it's very important, okay. In disinvestment, you might have heard about this word strategic. Disinvestment is there, strategic disinvestment is there. What is the difference between disinvestment and strategic disinvestment? In disinvestment, what do you mean by disinvestment? Disinvestment is government selling of assets, government selling of public sector undertaking assets. That is what is called as disinvestment. What is strategic disinvestment? They are not only selling off, they are selling the asset more than 50%. So in strategic disinvestment, it is not only selling assets, it is also shifting the managerial control to some other body. So it will lose the managerial control of that company. So this word is very important, okay. Now, here the strategic debt restructuring is for those companies. See, this is both scheme are for stressed companies who have taken loan and their loan have become non-performing. Okay, so both the scheme is not only helping bank, but it also helping the companies to these schemes are giving a company to a chance for revival. Okay, now we'll see that what this strategic debt restructuring is all about. In this scheme, strategic debt restructuring, okay, the most important thing is that the bank, so there will be a group of banks will be there. Be very clear that a company might have taken loan from more than one bank. So there will be more than one creditor to a company. Okay, so this term is very important here. The group of banks is also called as joint lenders forum. What this in this scheme, simple is that any company who is having huge non-performing assets, after the consensus from this joint lenders forum, that is group of creditors, this forum will have only lenders. The term be very clear, joint lender forum, it's a forum of lenders. Who are lenders? The institutions, financial institutions or bank which give loan. So in this, if this forum, what this forum will do, it will take over. This joint lender forum will take over more than 50% of the company share. That's the term of strategic. Who will take over this? What will happen is, under strategic debt restructuring, the company will lose managerial control. To whom? In the case of strategic debt investment, strategic disinvestment. In strategic debt restructuring, we are talking what is this debt restructuring? The debt of a company is going to be restructured. How it will be restructured? It will give the share of more than 50% of the share by converting debt to equity. The loan which the bank, a bank which has given to a company will be converted to equity. So this will happen here. What will happen is the loan will be converted to equity. Now suppose the loan is 50 crore. If the loan is 50 crore, this 50 crore will be converted to equity, and it will ensure that this joint lenders forum or the group of bank will have managerial control over that company. And its RBI guidelines have clearly said that after this lenders or bank taking over the managerial control, as soon as possible it have to do away with this managerial control to some other person. See, bank can't run a company. Bank function is not that. But to make this process very, see what is the advantage of strategic debt restructuring is that the project can continue, the company will continue its functioning. Unlike other procedures where we will see that the company will be closed down, the people will lose employment. Here nothing will not happen. What will happen is the company's managerial control will be shifted to bank then shift that to, or will find a new buyer or new investor and sell that amount to that person, and the bank will get back that money. So this is actually strategic debt restructuring is all about. So the key thing about strategic debt restructuring is that this joint lender forum or the group of bank will convert the due loan or the non-performing assets into equity and ensure that they will have managerial control. If they want to have managerial control, they should have more than 51% control. For that will be ensured under this corporate debt structuring, and then what will happen is that as soon as possible, this is what RBI said, as soon as possible this bank have to find a new buyer and give this managerial control to that person who can run it efficiently. So there will be a new manager or new management will come and control that company. This is very, very, very important point. Now, while reading, this is one important point regarding this equity converting loan to equity. But second thing is that change in management control. But other thing is that any decision, this is very, very, very important point. Any decisions of the joint lender forum, have to be approved by, this is very important, that if that to happen, it should be approved by 75% of creditors. This term is very important, this value is very important. It has to be approved by 75% of creditors. If you want to convert loans into equity, it has to be approved by 75% of creditors in terms of value. These two conditions have to satisfy, and 60% of creditors in terms of number. It's a very, very important fact. Be very clear. First it is talking about value, second it is talking about number. Both have to satisfy, then only the strategic debt restructuring will happen. Again, this is the most important point I have seen when I have read this strategic debt restructuring. What it is saying that, imagine the case, if suppose there are only 3 lenders. One is having a share of 35. So this 35 crore he has given loan, Another have given 45 crore has loan, and third one has given 20 crore. So what is the total value here? 100 crore. How many lenders are there? 3. So for this to happen, if these two agree, if the first and 2 category will agree, so 80% ho gaya, 75% of creditor by value, is it? It is now 80 crore. So this first criteria is satisfied. Now 3 means 60, 2 out of 3 means it is 66% of by number. Yes or no? See, 2 are agreed. These, see, how many lenders are there? 3 are there. 3 lenders are there. So second criteria is 60% of creditors by number. So if 2 agree out of 3, it is 66% in terms of number, 80% in terms of value, then this proposal will be applied. So these two terms are very important. Don't get confused. 60% of credit, 75% of creditors by value, 60% of creditors by number is very, very important. Then only, now what can happen? Either UPSC will change this number. So be very clear with that, okay? You know 175 and 60, but if you are not clear for 75 what, 60 not, then UPSC can change it. So be very clear that 75, say again, try to understand that this is in news in 2000. This is one of the most important news in 2016 along with the S4A. So we are supposed to know it, okay, regarding the strategic debt restructuring. So core point I have told you, okay, most important thing is that it is debt restructuring. It is not normal debt restructuring, it is strategic debt restructuring. What is the specialty of strategic debt restructuring? It is the company will lose managerial control. What is the scheme is all about? The outstanding debt or loan will be converted to equity. Outstanding loan or debt will be converted to equity. But for that to happen, these two conditions have to satisfy. That is 75% of the creditor by value and 60% of creditor by number have to agree to it to convert this loan into equity. This is sufficient from your strategic debt restructuring point of view. But again, this is also a failure. It could not able to achieve its desired goal of reducing the non-performing assets. We are not going to, that's from your mains point of view, not from your prelims. Prelims point of view, these facts are important. Now what is this? So since it was not successful, RBI in 2016 came with the, so now try to understand this scheme is also existing, both the scheme are coexisting. Strategic debt restructuring is also there now, S4 is also there. I told you na, this problem of NPA can't be addressed by one measure, it requires several measures. Okay, now this S4A, so scheme for 4S, scheme for sustainable structuring of stressed assets. So be very clear, this NPA is also called as stressed assets. Okay, sometimes it will call it as also this asset becoming toxic when it is huge. Okay, now regarding this, now here see the term, it is a scheme. Who have introduced this scheme? RBI. Now here it is not talking about restructuring, it is talking about, this word is very important, sustainable structuring of stressed assets. Now this stressed asset will be sustainable. So what is this? You have seen the word sustainable, how, whether the company can be sustained. So the most important point about this scheme is that unlike strategic debt restructuring, there will be no change in managerial control. The management will be the same. So that's very important about, so this core, it's a core point. Under S4A, management will not be changed, the same management will continue. Okay, now, but again, same here, here the loan, again the loan will be, here again the loan will be converted to, common thing is about this that, so difference is managerial control will remain same management will continue. Here also this stressed assets will be converted to equity, and again the group of creditors will purchase it. But RBI have clearly said that if this scheme to be applicable, three important conditions have to be there. If S4A is to, these three conditions are very important. In order to, if this scheme to run, three important conditions have to be fulfilled. Three important conditions have to be fulfilled. It's there in your material. Please take your material and write it, very important. I have written 1, 2, 3, write it important over there. They can ask a question, what are the conditions under S4A, a scheme recently introduced by RBI for recovering bad loans or something like that. The first condition, what it says that, okay, it should be this company, the project has to be a running project or must be an operating project. The company has to be an operating company or the project has to be operating one, and not only that, it has to generate cash. That's a very important point. For S4A to be applicable, it has to be an operating project. The project has to be operating, presently running, and also it has to generate cash from it. So already a running project which is making money, that is the first condition. Second condition is that the non-performing assets or the total loans, has to be more than 500 crore, very important. Second condition is that the loan the company have taken, so S4A will be applied to those companies who have taken loan above 500 crore. So if a company is having a total loan of 200 crore, for him the scheme is not applicable. The scheme is only applicable for those companies who are having a total loan of above 500 crore, above 500 crore. That's the second condition. But the third is the most important condition. The third condition, it says that the lending banks, they have to set up an independent, or they have to hire an independent agency. This word is very important. The lending bank have to hire an independent agency to find out whether this asset is sustainable, whether this debt is sustainable. The word is very important. That's the idea about whether the debt is sustainable. What do you mean by debt is sustainable? It means that whether the company can pay loan or not, how much of the debt can be repaid by the company. Sustainable means if some restructuring or structuring have happened, how much loan a company can pay back in a month. That's the term is all about sustainable. Okay. Now, this independent agency will see that how much of the debt can be sustained by the company. And if the independent agency says that more than 50% of the debt can be sustained, you're getting the point? If the present company, if you do some structuring, and if you do some structuring in the present context, see the first condition. The first condition says that it is an operating project. It is making money, but this money is not sufficient to pay the entire principal and interest. The monthly EMI, just for example I am telling, the monthly amount in the form of principal and interest is not sufficient. That cash which it is generating is not sufficient. But if the loan might have been reduced from, imagine a case that 10 lakh is the monthly bank loan for a company, but it is producing only after the expenses, after salary and other expenses, it is having only 5.5 lakh extra cash. So it can pay monthly 5.5 lakh. So it means that 55% of the debt can be sustained. 55 loan is 10 lakh. How much he can pay? How much the company can pay? 5.5 lakh. So it shows that 55% of the debt can be sustained, or 55% of the debt can be serviced. Then this independent agency will come and find out the expenses, the profit, the monthly cash it is having, and then it will say that okay, this company is having a 55% sustained. It can pay 55% of the asset. And if it reports that it can pay more than 50%, then the third condition will satisfy. So if the three conditions satisfy, then only this scheme for sustainable structuring of stressed asset can be applied to that particular company. This is what is required from, this is the most important point from your examination point of view. I am mostly expecting a question from this topic, S4A, and that too from the three conditions. Regarding these three conditions, be very clear that again I am telling you, the most important point is that unlike strategic debt structuring, the managerial control will not, there is no need to change the managerial control. Okay, and only thing is that the three conditions which have been set by RBI have to be fulfilled by the company. If that three conditions has been fulfilled, then scheme is applied. And in the material I had given that Hindustan, which is the first company to come under this scheme, HCC becomes Hindustan Construction Company Limited, which is a infrastructure company, have become the first company to get S4A approval. It was in November 2016. So that's a very recent, from the examination point of view, it's a recent time, and the scheme is also introduced in 2016, and that's important for you. I'm telling you, these three points is important. Revise it before your exam also, and most probably in your PMT 16 this question will be there. Okay, so that's regarding S4A. So this is regarding all the, one more thing is there which I already discussed, that is regarding this insolvency and bankruptcy code. Okay, so for you, from the examination point of view, strategic debt structuring, restructuring, then S4A, insolvency and bankruptcy code, all the three schemes which is dealing with, to addressing the same problem, have to be tackled. Mostly 1 or 2 questions. See, try to understand that from money and banking, minimum 3 questions will come. And there have been a year in which 7 questions have come from money and banking. So it's all money and banking related topic. And if you see the 2016 trend, in 2016 all were current affairs. So now in relation to economy, one thing I'll tell you, unlike other subjects, unexpected current affair will not come. And a current affair which you are not aware of will not come. A current affair which was in news for a lot, means for a quite time, will come. So in that way, the current affair, economic current affair will not miss it if you have studied it properly. So that I will tell you what all things are important. When I am saying that this is important, believe it and read it. When question will come, you can easily answer it. That you can revise it properly and do it. So with the today's session, since you have attended today's session, I am sure that there will be 1 or 2 questions related with non-performing assets, including this insolvency and bankruptcy code. Okay, so you can revise that also parallelly. Please answer those questions. When you solve question, revise those questions, then there will be no problem relation with it. Now, if any question comes, if you after revising this material and revising the notes which I have written down, you can easily answer the question related with non-performing assets and revise the definition of non-performing assets. That's it.